Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the Todd Allbaugh Show. We got like 35 seconds till we kick it off. Todd and I were almost twinning today. If only I had done my laundry over the weekend, I would be wearing the same shirt that he is. Because I'm going to the game today. All right, 20 seconds.
Thank you.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer, on the board. We are back at the world headquarters in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. It is Monday, July the 28th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everybody, here at the world headquarters. Clear skies, Zommers. A little warm, but not too bad. Not nearly as humid as it was over the weekend. And I understand that's good news for you because you're on your way to AmFam Field tonight.
I sure am. Over the weekend, or maybe sometime last week, whatever, in the past few days, one of my roommates, who's a Cubs fan, was like, hey, you want to go to the Brewers-Cubs game on Monday? And I was like, yes, of course. Why not?
Yeah. Big game coming up tonight and late this afternoon, I guess the evening, technically. You can hear that game across many of our Civic Media radio stations on the Brewers Radio Network, including WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WRJN in Racine, Kenosha, and WCQM in Park Falls, and our newest Milwaukee Brewers affiliate, WBZH, the Buzz of the North, up in beautiful Hayward. Pre-game show on the stations gets underway just after 6 o'clock, around 6:05-ish, and then the first pitch from AmFam Field at 6:40 tonight. The Brewers behind phenom Jacob Misiorowski, the Miz, starting off tonight on the mound for Milwaukee in a critical three-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Tonight, tomorrow's game at 6:40, and then it's an afternoon wrap-up on Wednesday at 1:10 in the afternoon. Had the opportunity, the honor, the pleasure of being there yesterday at AmFam Field. Let me tell you, it was hot. Here's a little tip for you. If you win the Civic Media Brewers tickets, they're fantastic seats. They're cushy. They're on the third base side. There is an air-conditioned concourse right behind the seats you can step into, and boy, let me tell you, that's a lifesaver. But if you get to an afternoon game, and they had the roof partially closed yesterday to provide a little bit more shade, but these particular seats are in that crevice or whatever you want to call it in the roof, and it's about the seventh inning before the sun goes away. So I'm a little sunburned, but very thankful because what a game it was, and the Brewers pulled it out in the ninth inning, walk-off hit there by Perkins in the ninth, and the Brewers win it yesterday. Avoided being swept by the Florida Marlins. By the way, Marlins are hot right now. One of now the hottest team in the major leagues, and they came in there and took a couple from Milwaukee in the first couple of games, but the Brewers got it together and a big walk-off win for the Brewers yesterday. I'm thinking it's going to propel them into this series against the Cubs, but you never know. I mean, the Brewers and the Cubs right now tied atop the NL Central, so the Brewers could take three in a row here. Suddenly, you're 3 games ahead of your closest rival in the division. This could go a long way to tell the story down the stretch.
Yeah, it's gonna be very likely a dramatic series.
It will be. So looking forward to listening to the Brewers. Zommers will be there. Give us a full report tomorrow, assuming doesn't party too hardy down there.
No, I do not plan on it, especially with the heat. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, exactly. So hydrate
Yes,
down there.
That's what I'll be doing.
If you're going to the game. Looking forward to that one later on tonight. And trying to get a little luck going, I have my Just a Bit Outside shirt on from the great movie Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers from our friends Sean Hanish and Kelly Call. Great movie, streaming now on Roku, Apple, Prime, all kinds of the DVD as well. And Tringby Olsen, our friend who comes on this show frequently, he finally got around to, because his kids and wife are gone right now on vacation. He's still working. And so he watched the movie over the weekend, Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers. I have not talked to him yet to get his review.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe we'll save it until Wednesday.
Might be good, yeah. But I'm looking forward to hearing from him because
me too.
I can't imagine he didn't like it because it's amazing.
Looking forward to chatting with him about the movie. Also looking forward at the bottom of this hour, and we have Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, who has been on this program a number of times, always a great guest. A little special today, she announced last week, in fact, was the first Democrat to announce that she's running for governor of Wisconsin after incumbent Democratic Governor Tony Evers announced he will not seek a third term. So looking to a live interview with Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez just after the bottom of the hour. Not going to want to miss that. I want to start with some Brewers news over the weekend that is not involved in the actual current race for the NL Central, because CC Sabathia, it was announced first ballot Hall of Famer in the major leagues. And it's been a while since, and CC was only here for a part of one summer. But let me tell you, it was a fantastic year. It was the year that the Brewers got back into the playoffs for the first time in like 20 some odd years. And so found this clip, been going around online, of Bob Uecker's call back, I believe, 2008. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. This is Uecker's call when CC Sabathia was on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. He pitched the entire game. I was there at this game with my mom that afternoon. It was a great one. This is CC getting the Brewers back in the playoffs after 26 years.
Everybody in this place is standing. 45,299. Sabathia sets. Here it is. Swinging a bouncer. Double play ball. JJ second. Relay. Double play. Hey, they win. Oh, what a finish. CC Sabathia being mobbed by his teammates. And the Brewers have beaten Chicago. Wow, what a game. What a performance by Sabathia. And Sabathia now saluting this huge crowd. And they return the salute.
How about that? That just gives me goosebumps, right? Hearing Uecker on the call again, the late, great Bob Uecker. I believe the year was 2008. And the Brewers had not been in the playoffs in 26 years, basically since that 82 run. And CC Sabathia, free agent, they brought him in, pitched the entire 9 innings in that game. It was incredible. And to be there and to see, and here was the deal, and that's why Uecker didn't say, for the first time in 26 years, they're back in the playoffs, because what happened was the Brewers won that, and then they had to wait and see if the Mets, I believe, lost. And so they put that Mets game up on the Jumbotron at what was called at the time Miller Park. And it was incredible. Nobody left. The entire crowd stayed there watching this game on the Jumbotron. And when the Mets lost, or whatever way it had to go, it went the Brewers' way, and it meant the Brewers were the wild card team in the National League, and they had all kinds of streamers and fireworks that went off. The team came back out onto the field, and it was an incredible night to be there. And just as our friend and ongoing contributor Jeff Perry says on Facebook, so great to hear the late great Bob Uecker's call once again. I mean, Levering and those guys are great. I love the current team, but of course I think they would say that nobody's going to hold a candle to Uecker's call.
sometimes you just have people who are lightning in a bottle in whatever their profession is, and Euchre was one of those.
He really, really was. So congratulations to the great CC Sabathia, because he went on then and I believe to the Yankees. So it was Cleveland, the Yankees, and the Brewers. And it was really cool of Sabathia when he got the news this weekend that when he got inducted, he said Milwaukee, exclamation point, Cleveland, exclamation point, New York, exclamation point. He gave a shout out to all of his teams. And last time I checked, the Brewers fans had the most likes and retweets of anybody. And
I'll have to check and see
the
where that's at
smallest
now.
market amongst those three teams. So all accounts from what I ever heard by people who were in the clubhouse with Sabathia that magical summer, they said he was just a great human being, a great teammate, and I think that we all know exactly what he was in terms of his talent.
Yeah, the Milwaukee tweet is by far the biggest.
Still is, yeah.
It's at 9.5 or just about 9,500 likes. The closest is Cleveland at 6,500.
That's great. Now, here, this is great. Mom will love this in particular because she'll often say to me, why don't you tell who won these things more? We want to know who won. And Mom, as she always is exactly right. So thank you to Jim in Brookfield, one of our great listeners in WAUK in Waukesha. Jim in Brookfield just texted in and said, hey, Todd and Sommers, my weekend started out great Friday evening when I learned that we had won the Free Ticket Friday contest. My wife and I will be going to the game Wednesday with two diehard baseball fans. We thought about asking the both of you, however, we knew you'd be working. Thank you to Civic Media, Jim from Brookfield. Now, that's exactly what you want in a listener. Thank you, Jim. Very, very kind of you to take the time to write that so we can pass it on. Because I think some people say, well, does anybody really win this stuff? Well, here you go. There's Jim in Brookfield, who indeed not only won, but took the time and was kind enough to write us a thank you note. So,
Yes.
Jim, thank you. I will pass that on to the rest of the folks here at Civic Media. And speaking of that, you can listen every Friday, not just our show, but all the great programs across Civic Media for a word of the day, and you have your chance to win 4 free tickets for a Milwaukee Brewers game in our beautiful club level seats. That's coming up on Friday. Zommers?
Also, very much appreciate the offer to bring us along, but I am glad you found other people because a part of the perk of working here is we get a handful of tickets in the season.
We get a couple of games every year. We always appreciate that. And
I want to make sure people get to enjoy who don't normally get to go.
we want to spread the love, right? That's what we want to do, spread the baseball and Brewers love. So congratulations, Jim. Be like Jim and listen we like to have you listen to us every day, but particularly on Fridays, because you can get something out of the deal. Not just entertainment and information. You can actually win Brewers tickets on Friday. Free Ticket Friday. You have to download the Civic Media app because that's the only way that you can enter. So thanks, Jim. We appreciate that. We're going to come back. Again, the Brewers tonight are going to be playing 6:40, the first pitch across many of our stations, with a pregame show underway just after 6 o'clock. The Brewers against the Cubs. Here's the deal, Zommers. We got a governor's race going on. Have you heard about this?
I think once or twice.
I think once or twice. Cam in Appleton says, I think I've won a few times in the past, and each time said no thank you because I don't leave the house. Well, okay. We appreciate you playing, Cam, but yet, unfortunately, the game can't come to you. You can via the magic of radio. You can get WISS in Appleton, I bet. But no, you have to be able to go to the games. But we have a governor's race going on. Sarah Rodriguez says she is already in. She announced last week. And she's going to be here after the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk to her live. But also want to check in with some news over the weekend. A couple of people said they're out. Not going to run for governor. And so we're going to tell you who those people are. One Republican, one Democrat. Because this is the new game, right? This is the new game that's taking America, or at least Wisconsin, by storm. Who will be our next governor? People are posturing. We'll see who's going to get in. One person in particular. And I have not given it a lot of credibility because I just didn't want to. But our former governor, Dan Schaefer, and Bill McCoshen on this program on Thursday were talking about this, speculating. What do Scott Walker's trolling tweets really mean? We'll tell you. Is he in or out after this? Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Tom Hartman here. You're listening to 92.7 WMBX.
Tony on YouTube says, did Sarah figure out who dis from last week?
I believe she
So,
did. Yeah.
when you said that, I had heard Luke say that he might have her on the show for Monday, but then I checked my email. I didn't see it anywhere in writing, so I was like, I don't want to say that and be wrong about it.
Just refused to cooperate. In Florida, there's a decision in a court case over the city of Miami's proposed postponement of a city election. First to Minnesota, where the Secretary of State's office notified the Trump administration's Department of Justice that it would not comply with its request to turn over all voter records from the 2020 and 2024 elections, including voting and registration
Also, it says
records.
225 on Trello. Is that correct?
Justification for the
I
request
probably
and did not specify how the
made a
data
loop.
Okay, I mean, I'll keep an eye on the phone,
DOJ
obviously.
has
I'm
requested
pretty sure
records from
Luke
11
said-
other states, including Alaska,
Let me just
Arizona, Florida,
That's 235.
Nevada, New Hampshire,
Okay, cool.
New York,
Thank you.
Oklahoma,
That makes sense.
I just put it
Pennsylvania,
wrong on
Rhode Island,
Trello,
and
sorry.
Wisconsin. New Hampshire has also refused to comply, citing state privacy statutes. In June, the Miami City Commission voted to delay city elections from November 2025 to November 2026. It would extend Miami's commissioner and term-limited mayor by a year and was called a power grab. After mayoral candidate Emilio Gonzalez sued, a Miami-Dade County judge ruled July 21st that the city commission could not move the election without voter approval, according to the Miami Herald. We've linked to Minnesota's letter to DOJ and local reporting at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Craft cocktails, live events, a playground for the kids, and yes, self-serve instant ramen bar and drag bingo. It's all at Downdren's Distilling in Cottage Grove.
About
It's not
15.
your average
Thank you.
tasting room. Pet friendly.
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Great songs on this. This is a summer song. Turn it up a little bit more. Here we
Till
go.
the end of time. So you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? It's
Welcome
always
back to the
tease,
Civic Media
tease,
Radio Network.
tease.
Todd Allbaugh here along with Aaron Zommer. Spinning the tunes, but that's a great summer tune.
It
It's a
is.
great summer tune.
I also thought it fit with Scott Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Perry says Zommer's pulling out the clash. Indeed he is. It could be a clash between titans, right? Politically. But people are should they get into the governor's race or should they not? So over the weekend, Scott Walker, former Governor Scott Walker, was futzing around on Twitter, trying to be cute by retweeting the 45-47 thing of Trump, saying, maybe I could be the 47th governor of Wisconsin, just like Donald Trump, basically. It was hinting around. And he wanted people to talk about him because he gets very, very lonely, you understand? And we all remember when he ran for president and how that went, which is not well. And his wife, Tonette, she put the kibosh to that. She says, this thing's over. She pulled the plug on the presidential race. That's the real story on that one. And
Good
then,
for her.
yeah. And then there was rumors that, Scott Walker might be wanting to run for governor again. And apparently Tonette has once again said, no, we're not doing that. So he put out some goofy, I shouldn't say goofy, but I thought it was goofy, video over the weekend. And he said, basically, he said a lot of stuff. And then he said, I'm not running for governor this time around. So you got that going. And by the way, Walker is making like $700,000 running some Young Republicans thing. So it would be a dramatic pay cut for Scott Walker to run for governor again. And if our friend Trygve Olsen were here, he would remind us that Scott Walker is one of those people who's always wanted to be governor, always wanted to be president, because back at Badger Boy State, when Trigby and Scott Walker were at Badger Boy State, Trigby said most of us guys, we were seniors in high school. We were trying to figure out how to get the college freshmen, behind the bleachers to give them a kiss. And Scott Walker was more interested in lobbying and campaigning to be president, even at Badger Boy State. And so, and Trigby likes to say there are people in this business that either want to be or want to do. And certainly Scott Walker is a person that just wants to be, so that's fine. He's out. We all knew that. Now, here's something a little more newsy. On the Democratic side, Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski, very, very politically attractive candidate. She's good on the stump. She's a good retail campaigner. She's run statewide before. Now she holds a statewide office. Lots of thoughts that she might be stepping up to the plate. But she has said now that she is going to take a pass on the gubernatorial run, Sarah Godlewski. However, she is reported to be entertaining a run for lieutenant governor. So now already we have a hot lieutenant governor's race heating up because apparently now State Senator Brad Pfaff is announced that, or is hinting around to people that he may be interested in a run for lieutenant governor.
Ooh.
I know, that light governor's race, always a sexy deal, politically sexy. And so we got those two maybe going at it there on the light governor's race. But here now, over the weekend, and help me out, Summers, so make sure I give credit to the person where the cut is here. Oh, here, I got it right here in front of me. This is Catherine Merck over the weekend, and she talked to Governor Tony Evers at CBS 58 in Milwaukee, asking the governor, incumbent Governor Tony Evers, is he going to make an endorsement in this race?
I tend to try to avoid that, so no, I'll never say never, but I want to make sure who the rest of the candidates are before I even make that decision. That's the important thing. I tend to not get involved with primaries in general, and so that's probably where I hope to be again. But but then in turn, if there's somebody that really needs support and I want them to win, I might get in.
There you go. Tony Evers not giving us a yes or a no, which means, of course, that yes, he may endorse.
Yeah.
Even though he never said no, and he's leaving the door open if somebody that I like, that I want to win, he says. In other words, if my person that I want to see succeed me ain't doing well, I'll pull a Ben Wickler. Because remember, Ben Wickler said he wasn't going to endorse anybody for the Democratic Party chairmanship. Yeah, Zepecki and Devin Remiker going at it. And then at the last minute, Wickler says, no, I actually want my right-hand guy, and he endorsed Remiker, and Remiker won by a couple of hundred, or by a few, not less than 100 votes, I think.
And the only real reason that was controversial is because he initially said he wouldn't, whereas Evers said, I probably won't.
So my guess is he will. Let's go quickly to the phone lines, 855-752-4842. Charles calling in from Milwaukee on WAUK. Charles, what say you?
Hey, Todd. So every time Scott Walker opens his mouth or tweets something, the only response to Scott Walker should be Foxconn, with an emphasis on the con.
Right.
That's any response to him from a Democrat or independent should be Foxconn.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And emphasis on the con, because he took those people's homes, eminent domain, and I think he knew that this deal was not going to go through, but like I said, he had the aspirations to be a president, and that didn't go well. But Foxconn should be the only response to Scott Walker.
I appreciate it, Charles. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in. Charles, exactly right. And we don't talk about Foxconn enough on this show because it was a huge failure in which people lost their homes, their farms, their land, and eminent domain type of things down there in southeast Wisconsin. And it's a big bust, basically. And Governor Evers has had to try to make something out of the mess that Walker left him. But Charles is absolutely right. A friend of mine in politics told me a long time ago, Todd, you know what the opposite of love is, isn't it? It's not hate. It's indifference. Just ignoring Scott Walker, that drives him crazy. That's why I don't like to talk about him that much in the show. All right, come on back. Somebody I do want to talk with, the current Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez. Will she be Wisconsin's next governor? We'll talk to her live after this. Don't go anywhere. It's Todd Allbaugh on the Civic Media Radio Network.
If I stay, it will be double. So you gotta let me know.
news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX. As Wisconsin as a fish fry on a Friday night. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
We've all heard the saying, less is more. But did you know it can also apply to loading livestock into a trailer to head to the county fair? I'm Kylie Allen, and you're tuning in to the Midwest Farm Report this Monday. Stay with us. Tips for keeping your livestock calm at the fair are coming your way. Rural Mutual Insurance is proud to sponsor the event tent at Wisconsin Farm Technology Days, August 5th through the 7th at Clinton Farms in Bear Creek. For nearly a century, Rural Mutual has protected Wisconsin farms and supported rural communities with local insurance agents in every county. Join them at the Rural Mutual Event Center for live music, vendor booths, barbecue demos, and more. They're proud to protect what matters most: your farm, your family, your future. Learn more at ruralmutual.com. It's that time of year. Livestock is being loaded into the trailer and taken to the county fairgrounds to compete for a prized purple ribbon. Bernie O'Rourke is the Extension Youth Livestock Specialist. She has tips to keep your livestock calm and prepared for the county fair.
That is certainly a thing. I think that as we have researched animal handling, researched how animals behave and move, we've really found out that less people is more impactful. And you know, a lot of it has to do with distractions, right? If there's too many people and too many people talking, it's pretty distracting for an animal. But the people that have been around the animal a lot is probably one of the most important things.
Bernie O'Rourke along with us. She's the Extension Youth Livestock Specialist. While fewer people are better than a crowd, she says to make sure the people the animal is most familiar with are taking the reins. Stick around. We've got to look at some more news after this.
Don't let sick calves get you down and drain your profits. Get your calves up and moving with BioVet's Calf Electrolyte. Our Baselite product contains balanced electrolytes for restoring and maintaining proper fluid levels and scouring calves. Baselite also provides additional energy to support recovery. It's easy to mix, and calves are easy to drink it down to the last drop. Learn more about Baselite at bio-vet.com.
Can you turn off the mic for a second, please?
The Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection says the talk of tariffs has once again caused concern in the pork market. This follows the announcement of a 17% U.S. tariff on tomatoes from Mexico. 70% of tomatoes sold in the U.S. are grown in Mexico, and Mexico is the largest buyer of U.S. pork. Check out the latest livestock update on our website at MidwestFarmReport.com. And while you're there, sign up for our e-newsletter. That'll have the latest Wisconsin agriculture news delivered straight to your inbox every morning. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
As Wisconsin as a game of cribbage with good friends, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Sunny, hot, and humid today, with high temperatures scraping the low 90s, but it really feeling more like 100 degrees, prompting a heat advisory. And with the winds barely moving, it's not helping any. Overnight, some showers and storms are possible, and some could be strong to severe. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, 88 degrees.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba,
the founder of Wonderfully Wisconsin. He's been on the show before, but tonight he's here to make the popcorn pick of the week, Mr. Paul Vandenplas.
The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh my God, I love when people pick a movie I know nothing about.
A campy comedy buddy story, but
30
really
seconds.
just a heartwarming message.
Paul picked a movie that
bringing and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Monday, July the 28th, 2025. As we were talking about there in the last segment, the governor's race for 2026 is on. Democratic incumbent Governor Tony Evers announcing last week via an X video that he would not seek a third term. And the first person out of the gate, literally hitting the sidewalks running, was current Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. She has been on this program several times, and we are honored to have her back on via telephone. Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Where do we find you in our great state today, Lieutenant Governor?
So I was in Door County today, and I'm making my way back to a home in Waukesha, but was able to stop by several different businesses, talk to them, was able to stop by an organization that does housing along the shore there and really talk about what they need from the state government.
That's fantastic. I traveled around the state myself, was in Shawano, Green Bay, Richland Center, Spring Green area, Madison and Milwaukee, and saw the Brewers win last night and back here. And here's the thing, Lieutenant Governor, I know we've talked about this before, but and I took the way from Shawano to Richland Center. I went through kind of Adams and Wood County and just what most people see as the middle of nowhere. And then you get into the Driftless and you just realize how green, how naturally beautiful, and how diverse geographically this state is.
It really is. I love the Driftless region. I love Door County. I love Milwaukee and all that it has to offer. It is a fantastic state, and I love to live here, and I'm glad that I raised my family here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great state. We could agree on that. All right, let's get to the business at hand. You put up this video. I would say it didn't matter whether it was you or anybody else. I've spent 30 years in politics. I thought it was one of the best kickoff videos to a campaign I've ever seen. It was well done visually, but it actually had something to say. That's going to put the question out there right away. Lieutenant Governor, why do you want to be the next governor of the great state of Wisconsin?
Well, as Lieutenant Governor, like you were talking about, I get to go to all 72 counties across the state. And I have done that every single year that I have been Lieutenant Governor. And I will continue to do that, to listen to people and see what they need from state government. And what I am hearing is that people feel squeezed. They are doing everything right. They are working. They are trying to do what's right, and they cannot make ends meet. And whether that is accessible and affordable health care, whether that's housing, whether that's childcare. Geez, I mean, childcare now is either a rent or a mortgage for people. It is wildly expensive. One of the areas that I've been working on my entire time in elected office is Medicaid expansion. We could get $2 billion from the federal government if we expanded Medicaid here in Wisconsin. It makes economic sense. It makes sense for the health of our communities. It's a no-brainer. We should just do it.
So I want to get to a couple of questions, just to give you an opportunity to say publicly a couple of things I've heard over the weekend. I think you've been on a couple other programs. I've heard some of this, not new to you, but perhaps new to our listeners across Wisconsin on our network. I think your announcement video got I don't understand this stuff, Lieutenant Governor, but got uploaded or something a couple of days before the governor made the announcement. So this is brouhaha. Oh, she had a heads up on this. I mean, did the governor confide in you as his closest political friend? I would think that you knew you had some sort of a heads up.
I did. The governor said that today. I got a heads up when the cabinet got the heads up that he was going to retire, and I am just so appreciative of his service. He has set us up fantastically at Wisconsin. He's set us up for success, and I'm going to knock it out of the park. But the reality is we need a governor who's going to be ready to go, who's going to be prepared, who's going to have their ducks in a row. And so I was prepared for either decision that he was going to make. I was prepared to run for governor. I was prepared to run for lieutenant governor and support him.
Another question that has come up just from people on political chit chat or that sort of thing is that you look at the field of candidates who may be coming in, and one of the concerns perhaps, and unjustified, perhaps, want to give a chance to respond to it, is, look, she has a great resume. She's been out there all over the state, but politically, you really haven't been in politics, an assembly, then lieutenant governor, 5-ish, 6 years. And so people say, well, can she take, and I guess we have to clarify it, sadly, in this day and age, a political punch, not a physical punch, of course, but politically. When this gets in the heat of things, the primary, the general, and people really come after her, can she take a punch? What do you say to that?
Absolutely. I actually launched my campaign on my 50th birthday. And you know what? When you get to be this age and you've got this experience, I know what I'm about. I know what my values are. They can come at me with whatever they want to come at me with. I am able to handle that, absolutely. And to be clear, I have worked in executive positions outside of elected office for far longer than I've been in elected office. And I think that's a good balance between understanding what it's like to be able to lace up your shoes every day, working as a nurse, working as an executive, and also understanding the political landscape. I think that's a plus, and I think the next governor is going to have to be working across the aisle, working with businesses, working with private industry, and I've got that experience.
We're talking live via telephone with Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. Her announcement last week that she is running to succeed Tony Evers as governor of the state of Wisconsin. Lieutenant Governor, we were up at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair here a couple weeks ago with our friend Pat Kreitlow. We were right across from the Chippewa County Republican booth, and Josh Shulman, one of the people that is in the race for the Republican side, came over, sat down. We had a quick chat with him. I asked him, do you need Donald Trump's endorsement in order to win the nomination on his side? He was a little cagey. He said he likes Trump, but the voters of Wisconsin are more important. Bill Berrien, one of the other Republican candidates, has been very clear. Yes, he needs it. Bill McCoshen on this show last week, political strategist, said he believes that the Trump endorsement is key to their side. I ask you, Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez, do you need anybody's endorsement to win this nomination on the Democratic side? Think of Bernie Sanders or the quote-unquote Bernie bro crowd, the more progressive side of your party. Do you need that to win this endorsement? Not endorsement, sorry, the nomination.
The nomination. You know, I don't think so. I think we've got very, very views in Wisconsin. And I certainly want to make sure we are focusing on the areas that progressives care about. That includes economics, that includes the cost of health care, the cost of housing, just the cost of living overall. And that's what I love about the Democratic Party is we do have diverse viewpoints, but we all want the same thing. We want to make sure that people have a good shot at making it and that the playing field is even. That's what we want, and that's what I'm going to be fighting for.
Just cut it down to the bone, politically speaking, as someone who ran a number of races is even worse than it is today because the Citizens United are worse than it was then. A lot of this comes down to name ID and money. You've been the lieutenant governor for a little while. That has to help your name ID. But a lot of people are going to say, can she raise the money, which is a evil necessity in this business today? What's your response?
So we've already had a great outpouring of support for the campaign, even in just the last couple of days. And so I anticipate being able to raise the money we need to be able to fight the way that we need to here in Wisconsin. It is so important to keep Wisconsin's governor's seat in Democratic hands. We see the chaos in Washington. We see the chaos on the federal level. We do not want that chaos here in Wisconsin. And if we elect a Republican governor, that's what we're going to get. Trump-level chaos here in Wisconsin.
You and I have talked before this program about your ability to reach out in places that maybe a lot of Democrats couldn't. We share the fact we have family roots in the Richland County area. Tammy Baldwin, one of the people that in the Democratic side is a rock star, in my opinion, is because she could go north of Highway 29 and north of Highway 8 and sit down and have a beer and be real with people. What do you think? What is it about you, Lieutenant Governor, that gives you the ability to replicate that political success of Senator Baldwin?
Well, I have strong roots in Wisconsin. You mentioned that my grandparents had a dairy farm in Richland County, and then when they sold that dairy farm, they moved to the big city of West Salem. And if anybody knows, West Salem is not a big city. Right. But I've lived here. I graduated from Brookfield East High School, raising my kids here in Waukesha County. I have an uncle who lives in St. Croix County. I love Wisconsin. I am able to go all across the state and speak to people, whether that's urban, suburban, rural, tribal lands. These are the things that we need to be able to do as elected officials and listen and understand what they want from their state government.
Talking to Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez on her campaign for governor, I 100% believe in what you just said. You know that because our conversations on this program before. I think, I'm not saying this for you, I'm saying it for our audience. Part of the reason Tony Evers was so successful is he got what the Lieutenant Governor just said, and he didn't win all those counties north of Highway 29 or 8, but he made the margin of loss smaller because he reached out to more people. Lieutenant Governor, I ask you, how do you balance what you just said, what I agree with, let's just be honest, there are people in your party that are critical of Governor Evers and said enough of this kind of mealy-mouthed, milquetoast, getting along with Republicans. We want a stronger fighter for harder progressive issues. We should have fought harder for K-12 in the state budget. How do you appease them to win the nomination without, alienating people in a potential general election?
So if they want a fighter, they've got one. I am not gonna stand down. I'm gonna fight for our values. I'm gonna fight for what we want as Democrats, and we can do better. We are going to flip the state assembly. We are going to flip the state Senate with a Democratic governor. We can get these things done. And I want to make sure that I'm the one to do that job. I'm the one to work with my party. And we may need some Republican votes to be able to get some things across that finish line. We're going to work with them too to make sure that we do what's best for Wisconsin. But I'm going to fight for our values. I'm going to fight for what's right. 2.5 minutes left. I want to be respectful of your time. I'll let you talk about whatever issue you want for the rest of the time. I think for me, your background in healthcare is really going to resonate in this campaign because this state is facing a crisis, particularly pairing that with what's happening in the federal level. Absolutely. So I'm a nurse by background. I have worked in healthcare for almost all of my career, public health. I was an epidemic intelligence service officer with the CDC. I did outbreak investigations nationally and internationally. I've been a healthcare executive. I understand how healthcare works. And I know that these cuts to Medicaid on the federal level are going to be devastating to Wisconsin, particularly our rural hospitals. We already have issues with women who want to have babies in hospitals. They have to travel hours to be able to deliver their babies because we just don't have the access that we used to. These Medicaid cuts are going to accelerate that. And this bill that they just passed, this awful bill, it quite literally takes food out of children's mouths. It reduces food assistance for individuals who are just trying to make ends meet. Oftentimes, these families are working. They're just not making that much money. And so that's what we're taking away from people. We're taking food out of children's mouths for what? For tax cuts for billionaires so they can buy another yacht? I don't really understand it. And so I'm going to be fighting for Wisconsinites. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we can mitigate some of the damage that's happening on the federal level. And that's what you want as an executive. You want somebody who understands the process, who has led before in an executive role, and is going to be able to move things forward.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, I want to say thank you publicly because you've never shied away from coming on this show, even before this run. You're always willing to have heartfelt discussions, honest discussions, even though we might not always agree, and I really appreciate that. You're always welcome on this show as this race goes forward. You can find more information at SarahForWisconsin.com, SARA for Wisconsin.com. Thanks, Lieutenant Governor. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, come on back. Take your phone calls, 855-752-4842. Stay tuned. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. You're still on. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for taking the time to have the conversation. Safe travels.
civicmedia.us/advertise.
Get ready, Madison. El Sazon Jarocho is now open on Plaza Drive. 5-star authentic Mexican cuisine, fresh, homemade, and the best prices in town. CY1 review said, best tacos I've ever had in my life. El Sazon Jarocho. You won't leave hungry, just happy.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. We reported recently that the Trump administration's DOJ requested complete voter records from 12 states. Minnesota just refused to cooperate. In Florida, there's a decision in a court case.
Oh, sorry, Tony, I didn't see that. I apologize.
Proposed postponement of a city election. First to Minnesota, where the Secretary of
This
State's
one?
office
Yeah.
notified the Trump
I would
administration's
have.
Department of Justice that
I
it
could have
would
asked.
not
I just didn't.
comply
I was
with
doing
its
the interview.
request
Sorry,
to turn
Tony.
over all
But
voter records from the
I mean,
2020
Tony
and
knows. But for those
2024
watching the stream,
elections,
in
including
Wisconsin,
voting and
I don't like
registration
this.
records.
In
The
Wisconsin,
office's general
it's not like the
counsel said
presidential
DOJ
where
failed to
the
provide
gubernatorial
legal justification
candidate
for
picks the
request
lieutenant
and
governor.
did not
It's a
specify
separate
how the
race.
data would be secured.
So
DOJ has
the
requested
lieutenant governor's
records
race is
from
a
11 other states,
standalone
including
race for
Alaska,
lieutenant governor,
Arizona, Florida,
and
Nevada,
the gubernatorial
New Hampshire,
candidates have
New
no
York,
direct
Oklahoma,
say in who that
Pennsylvania,
person
Rhode
is,
Island, and Wisconsin.
which has caused
New
some
Hampshire
problems
has
over
also
the years.
refused to comply, citing state privacy statutes. In June, the Miami City Commission voted to delay city elections from November 2025 to November 2026. It would extend Miami's commissioner and term-limited mayor by a year and was called a power grab. After mayoral candidate
Very own Terry
Emilio
Barr is
Gonzalez
already
sued,
working on
a
turning that
Miami-Dade
interview into an
County
article.
judge ruled
Well, thank
July
you, Terry. You're
21st
amazing.
that the city commission
By the way,
could not move
the
election
multiple
without
Emmy
voter
award-winning
approval,
Terry Barr,
according to
ladies
the
and gentlemen.
Miami Herald. We've linked
We appreciate
Minnesota's
her.
letter to DOJ and local reporting at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
And Tony says, I was joking. Probably okay to not ask that one.
All right. I didn't know if you were serious or not.
Kids ages 7 to 12.
Also,
It'd be an interesting question, just like, hey, if you had a say, who would you have?
Tony was typing this about Trigby saying that Walker wants to be, not wants to do, at the same time as you were saying it.
Oh, really?
Wildside is a nature
Great
and
minds think
wildlife
alike.
camp, bird and plant identification, monitoring nests, wildlife games,
But all brains taste the same.
Details at
Is that from Hannibal Lecter?
I don't remember what it's from.
People come to talk. It's the Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network. Join me for an honest approach to the issues American working
That's right.
families care
It's a
about.
song
No
by the
talking
band
points,
Happiness,
no
but instead of an I, it's a
Get ready
Y.
for a heavy dose of democracy, fairness, grit, and no apologies. It's current affairs
It's just
from
a
working
weird song.
class
They're a
labor
weird band.
perspective. Facts are center, science is real, and everyone gets a seat at
30
the table.
seconds.
Thank
Rick
you.
Smith Show.
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes now before the hour of 3 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC, CBS, or James Kelly News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. A check of weather, and then little sports with our own Mike Clemens. He texted me a Packer update, Summers.
Ooh.
A Packer, I'll share it with you after the top of the hour. See, this is where the rubber meets the road. Because when you've got a great guy like Mike Clemens on the inside, once in a while, he'll give you a little nugget, and we always appreciate that. So I'll share the nugget from Mike Clemens after the top of the hour. Also, a What's Worse edition, Summer Pest.
Yeah.
I know. Summer Pests. We'll talk about that in the second hour as well, and much more news. Many thanks to Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. Many thanks to our very own Luke Mathers for helping make that happen and setting that up for us. Really appreciate that. But look, I'm not endorsing anybody in this race. I'm just going to say that straight out right now. I'm not going to make an endorsement on the air because here's what I want. I want all gubernatorial candidates, and I mean all, Republican, Democratic, Independent, if there is one. I want them to come on this show, and we'll, just like Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, we'll give them all 15 minutes. And I gave, 3 minutes there for Lieutenant Governor to say whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Here, and again, I'm not making an endorsement. I like candidates who aren't afraid of questions. There was no, you can only ask her this, or she's not going to answer. None of that. No, there was nothing off the table. And when I asked her specific questions, she gives a real answer. And to me, that's valuable as Wisconsinites start to think about. And look, it's early, right? We're more than a year before the actual election. We're under a year for the primary in this state. Remember, the primary for governor is not in spring, it's in the fall. So the primary will be in August of 2026. So a long time yet, but I really appreciate Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez for coming on and answering the questions we had, for having a real discussion, because I think that's valuable for our audience.
Yes.
And for voters.
I also really appreciate the politicians and candidates that we have who will answer tough questions and do so graciously and honestly. And as Abraham Lincoln once said, quote, "I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended on to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts and beer."
And a beer. That's what we want.
So yeah, if people will answer the questions honestly, if you give people the facts, they can choose.
That's I have that on my refrigerator. It's a magnet I got from the Lincoln Presidential Library down in Springfield. If you ever get a chance, go down to Springfield to the Presidential Library for Lincoln. It's fantastic. Tony on YouTube says, "You, meaning me, should endorse a candidate for governor at the end, but only pick from people who appear on the show." Now that's not bad, Tony. I like that. No, I'm not gonna endorse certainly not in the primary process either way, because I just think it's valuable for our listeners, for voters to hear from everybody and then let them decide. But people that come on the show have to do what the Lieutenant Governor did, which is no preconditions. Right. We're just going to have a conversation and see where it goes. I think it's going to be a humdinger. It's on the Democratic side right now. You have Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, who I believe is the only truly announced candidate.
I think
so far. Other person that comes on this show a lot, State Senator Kelda Royce, rumored. She has said publicly that she's considering it. I would be surprised if Kelda Royce does not get it, but we'll see. I've been surprised before. Also, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, very popular amongst many Democrats, even some independents, maybe even a few Republicans in the Milwaukee Southeast area. So Cavalier Johnson, the Milwaukee mayor, has said he may get in as well. So we'll see about that. Attorney General Josh Kaul, he's kind of got Scott Walker syndrome. Just likes the attention, I think, and says a lot. But we had that cut last week where he talked for like 4 minutes and didn't say anything.
Yeah, it was very much a non-announcement.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Josh Kaul, you can't deny he's going to be one of the front runners just by the fact that he's a sitting statewide attorney general and has raised some money.
Everyone knows his name.
I think his challenge is going to be what he and maybe this is to his credit. I don't know. But he hasn't been boasting a lot about what he's done in office as attorney general. Over the weekend, I talked to our political editor, Dan Schaefer. I said, "You're too young to remember. But there used to be an attorney general during Tommy Thompson's, I believe, first term as governor, Don Hanaway." There's a name, though, a lot of people haven't heard in a long time. Don Hanaway, who was the attorney general of Wisconsin, a Republican. And I was working at WRCO, Richland Center at the time, and it was magical from a political standpoint, because when Don Hanaway was the attorney general, he got the legal sign-off somehow, but he put out a number of public service announcements, PSAs, on the radio station statewide from the attorney general's office. It was like, it was like, "This is a Wisconsin attorney, Don Hanaway. This is what we're working on. Make sure that you're protected. Call whatever number for state." It was some kind of a consumer protection deal. But it got his name out there all the time. And people are, "Well, I hear Don Hanaway on the radio all the time." And he got reelected. He ultimately lost.
Name ID is
He
huge,
ultimately, I think he lost his bid for a third term. And my old boss, Dale Schultz, goes, "What was the number one rule of politics?" I said, "Remember who your friends are." He goes, "Yep." So Don Hanaway forgot who his friends were. And I'm not sure if he raised more money. But anyway, that was Don Hanaway. So the point is that I'm not sure that Josh Kaul has done that. And again, maybe to his credit, he's just gotten the job done. But in today's day and age, you got to tell people about it. So we'll see if Josh Kaul gets in on the Democratic side. Sarah Godlewski, as we said earlier, is saying Secretary of State is saying she is out. She is not going to run for governor, but is mulling a run for lieutenant governor. So there's that. And I think there will be some other people that maybe we haven't heard of yet, or maybe
I imagine so.
That will get in on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, you got Josh Showman, Washington County Executive, and Bill Berrien, the self-proclaimed business guy. We'll see if Tom Tiffany, Congressman up the North Woods, gets in, and maybe more. Scott Walker says he is out politically. Anyway, come on back. Hour number 2 is next. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is 92.7
Did you bump your head in the cabinet or something?
Yeah, right,
Madison's home for
right
real
there.
news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
You want to do the teaser?
Oh, yeah.
ABC News.
All right. Are we rolling? Rolling. 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody, join us next time for a very special live show from Six Springs Farm in southwest Wisconsin as we talk to NFL and Badger Hall of Famer Joe Thomas, along with Brady Ewing as my guest co-host. Join us.
That should be good. Did you scream a lot at yesterday's game?
I didn't, but I know my voice is raspy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Interesting.
I mean, a little bit, but not like I was screaming at the top of my lungs and going crazy. I think it's just more allergy crap. I don't know, because I was outside a lot this weekend. So, I don't know.
That'll do her.
This is ABC News.
As Wisconsin is dropping a line in your favorite fishing spot, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. We're
You
now
did
under
remember
a
the
heat
number of
advisory.
springs.
It's yet another
Right?
hot one today. The National Weather Service forecasts temperatures
Heather said,
in the
"Remember,
90s
you like
and a heat
alliteration.
index above 100.
Six Springs
Meteorologists say
is alliteration.
80%
I
of
said,
the
"That's
state will have a heat index over 100 degrees today. So that heat advisory applies to much of Wisconsin. Now we're expecting a similar pattern to what we had last week. Really high temperatures followed by
should I talk about
storms, and we're expecting
joining
those storms to
TikTok
move
over the
into state
weekend?
tonight. They
I
could
think you
have
have
the
to,
potential
yes.
to cool things off just a little for tomorrow, but time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see. Now it's the end of July.
Got
You
an
know
interesting
the drill.
picture
Drink tons
of
water,
Gandalf
stay in the AC
from
as
Cam.
much as possible, and keep an eye
He says
on
this
people
is
who may be more vulnerable
Dom's
because of
favorite photo
age,
that he ever
physical
sent to
abilities,
Civic
or chronic
Media.
conditions. Today's heat advisory expires at 8 o'clock tonight. And the breaking story late last week was that
And
Governor
DJ
Tony
in
Evers
the
would
Saw
not run
says,
for a
"You
third
sound good,
term,
Todd.
and
It's
people
a solid
started
take,
lining
raspy
up
or
to
not."
join the race.
Thank you. I appreciate
Lieutenant
that,
Governor
DJ.
Sarah Rodriguez has launched her campaign, and Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley says he plans to run too. That's on the Democratic side. When it comes to Republicans, Trump-aligned businessman Bill Berrien is running, as is Washington County Executive
See,
Josh
the
Schoeman.
inquiring minds want
Not
to know.
long after Evers'
Jeff Perry
announcement,
says,
former
"Todd,
Governor
join
Scott
TikTok?
Walker started
Dates, please."
posting some
All right,
cryptic
all right,
tweets
all right.
showing what looks to be an
We'll talk about
AI-generated
it.
Make Wisconsin Great Again hat. It had 45, 47 on the side. President Donald Trump is the 45th and 47th president, and coincidentally, if he were elected
Joe
again,
Hawkins
Scott Walker
always
would be
used to say it
Wisconsin's
all the time,
45th
Bill
and
Hawkins.
47th governor.
Former team of the
All
Browns,
of this
Hawkins
implied
is
he may
always-
be
All right,
interested
I'll
in
pass
running
that
for a
along,
non-consecutive third term, and then over the weekend. he
I just sent
posted
you
this
Zommers a
message.
cut of Barry
I'm not going to be a
Goldwater.
candidate for governor in 2026. In fact, I'm going to continue
We might
my
get to
work
that.
as president of Young America's Foundation.
The field of candidates is expected to get bigger before it narrows with
All right, got it.
primaries next year. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
Showdown at AmFam Field. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports baseball. The Brewers and the Cubs tonight in Milwaukee. The battle for first place. Both teams tied for the NL Central after the Brewers beat the Marlins 3-2 thanks to a walk-off RBI in the ninth by Blake Perkins, FanDuel, Wisconsin.
Perkins, center field, that'll get it done. Scored as a hit. In comes Haas, and the Brewers walk off the Marlins. Blake Perkins delivers in the clutch.
Not sure we'll get to
Perkins
it,
now
but I
back
sent
after
Elizabeth
missing half
Warren
the
and the
season.
Paramount
Fractured
Skydance
shin bone.
deal, and
It's
it's
been a long
it's
road,
clean.
and
There's
this
no
is the middle
swear.
of the season for a lot of these guys, and I'm kind of coming in late, so it's just great to come through for the guys, and just appreciating these moments a little bit more.
NFL training camp in Green Bay. The Packers now in full pads.
Now we're talking about real football. These guys are still in their
Ooh, it's a
underwear
car
out there,
selfie
so-
video.
That's Packers
Yes,
head coach
it is.
Matt LaFleur. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Those are
As
funny to watch on
Wisconsin is
mute.
brats on the grill for a tailgate. This
Just with,
is
like,
the
shaking
Civic
around
Media
'cause they're
Radio
holding the phone.
Network.
Sunny, hot, and humid today with high temperatures scraping the low 90s, but it really feeling more like 100 degrees, prompting a heat advisory. And with the winds barely moving, it's not helping any. Overnight, some showers and storms are possible, and some could be strong to severe. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Currently, it's 91.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
The founder of Wonderfully Wisconsin. He's been on the show before, but tonight he's here to make the popcorn pick of the week, Mr. Paul Vandenplas.
The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh my God, I love when people pick a movie I know nothing about.
A campy comedy buddy story, really just a heartwarming message.
Paul picked a movie that I've never heard of that gets excellent critic and audience reviews. Very well done, Mr. Wonderfully Wisconsin.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers. Through CPR education and access to AEDs.
Thank you.
Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is Monday, July 28th, 2025. It is a great day to be Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along here from the world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison on State Street. Clear skies, Zommers. Pretty darn nice weather.
Yeah, well, we got a heat advisory till 8 p.m.
Yeah, I know. There's a heat advisory. Heat advisory is out till 8 p.m. So, in all seriousness, if you're particularly an older person or has breathing issues or things like hydrate and don't be goofy and go out. No, I'm going to go for a 5K run today.
No, it's just.
I mean, I guess the caveat is if you're like a what do they call that? An Ironman person who's run Ironmans and you know what you're doing and you truly know your limits. But if you're just the average Jane or Joe and you're going to, I think I'll go out and show how tough I am today. Just don't do that.
You may end up in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. So take care of yourselves out there today. Coming up here in hour 2, going to play What's Worse for you in a minute. Speaking of the hot weather, Zommers going to talk about corn sweat. Last week we had a story on swamp crotch, which is I better explain it. A real story from the TSA airport checkout in hot weather when people get hot. I mean, physically hot. No, it cannot detect that. Don't worry, or the alarms will be going off all the time on people. But when people get physically hot and have a lot of sweat, particularly in the crotch area, it can set off the TSA alarms. That's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying I had a sweaty back, and I've gotten on the way to and from like both ends of a trip to Colorado a few years ago. I got flagged over and they're swabbing me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We're checking for explosives." I'm like, Oh, I didn't even think of that. I'm just sweaty.
So we had swamp crotch last week, and today, corn sweat. Perry on Facebook says, corn sweat was my nickname in college. Fact check, true. We both went to Platteville. I can't tell you how many times I'd see Jeff across the greens there, walking to and from class. Hey there, corn sweat. It happened all the time. Kevin O'Connor and I would say, hey, corn sweat. So we're going to talk a little bit about corn sweat here in this hour and a little bit about Little League Baseball, Venezuela, Donald Trump, and Barry Goldwater. We'll tell you how all that weaves together.
The weave.
The weave. Some people don't like it when I use that term. But I don't know what else to say. It's the weave. All right, but here, before we get into all that, Zommers, I told you about this before the top of the hour. It's what we in the business call a tease. How condescending and jerkish does that sound? No, they want me to do more teases. So I tried to do some more teases. So I teased before the top of the hour that Mike Clemens had sent me a hot tip.
Indeed.
Now, you're not going to find this online. You're not going to find it in a newspaper. I don't even know if it's up on socials yet. But here now, this is how great Mike Clemens is. He's there at Packer training camp, our great sports reporter, on the ground at Lambeau Field, and he texted me this from Mike Clemens. Says, Packers center Elton Jenkins is back at work. At first, he was disappointed about not getting a pay raise. He has had some quote-unquote family issues during the spring he needed to deal with. During OTAs, he hurt his back weightlifting. But, Clemens reports, Elton Jenkins has said that he wants to move on, and focus on the center position, which at age 30, he hopes he could play for another 4 or 5 years in Green Bay over the football time. And that's what he's looking for a longer career center than what he would have probably been at a guard. So there you go. There's your hot tip from Packers training camp. Thanks to our own great sports reporter, Mike Clemens. Elton Jenkins back at work for the Green Bay Packers, hoping to be the long-term new center for Jordan Love. So there you go. That's some hot news, Zommers. How about that? And that's what I love about Mike Clemens being there, is he can give us that great on-the-ground reporting. All right, 11 minutes past the hour, 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. So let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. No prize money to give away. No money to be involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard on all 11 News Talk sports stations across the Civic Media Radio Network. No better place to advertise than right here at Civic Media. We would love to have you be a sponsor, partner. Check us out at civicmedia.us. One of our great salespeople will get in contact with you. Speaking of that, Sommers, guy, this Golden Star boy up there, Richland Center, Henry Bray, our great salesperson up there. One of his clients, Prem Meats in Spring Green, is a great sponsor on this network. Prem Meats. They are part of this whole thing that tomorrow we're going to be talking about on location.
Oh, really?
Tomorrow's show on location from Six Springs Farm in Southwest Wisconsin. Going to be talking to NFL and Badger Hall of Famer Joe Thomas tomorrow. Brady Ewing, like me, a native of Richland Center, unlike me, much more successful, was a 3-time Big Ten champion with Wisconsin Badgers, went to 3 Rose Bowls, captain of the team, Brady was, and then had a 3-year career in the NFL. Brady's kind enough to carve out time of his real life to come and be our co-host with me tomorrow. So it'll be Brady Ewing and me and Joe Thomas for 2 hours tomorrow at Six Springs Farm. You think, what are these guys going to talk about for 3 hours? We could probably do, or 2 hours. We could probably do 3. We're going to talk about Joe Thomas's time as a Badger and a Hall of Famer of the NFL. Very interesting story. A very grounded guy. He grew up in Brookfield. And I heard today from Dan Schaefer, they went to church together.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Think about that as a small world. And then had this big career for the Badgers and the Cleveland Browns. Well, then how does he get mixed? How he comes back to Wisconsin and he gets into beef farming, Wagyu beef specifically, and it all has to do with Joe Thomas's obsession with health and healthy eating and what he and his wife wanted for their kids. So we're going to talk about that. He and Brady also very family-focused people. How they, would they allow their sons to play football in today's world? We're going to talk to them about that a little bit. NIL. We're going to get Joe Thomas's predictions on what this Badger season is going to look like. Lots of us, including me, worried right now about can Luke Fickell turn it around. And then we're going to talk really specifically about agriculture, beef farming in this state. What our ag producers are facing and why Joe Thomas has gotten involved. And then Prem Meats, one of our sponsors here at Civic Media, they are now the main distributor for Hall of Fame Beef, which is the name of Joe Thomas's Wagyu Beef Company. And so you can order this from anywhere in the United States because now Prem Meats is a federally inspected meat locker. And so all this ties together, small business, agriculture, football, and just guys having a goofy time. And we've had chicken. We had a live chicken on the show at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, Sue, which Mom bought me a stuffed chicken. that she gave me over the weekend. And I'll bring it in one. It's really, really great. So, but tomorrow we are going to have live cattle on the show.
Ooh, excellent. And we got to keep bringing animals on.
Yeah, live cattle on tomorrow's show. So tune in right here via Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitter, wherever you're watching on the stream. Tune in tomorrow. You're going to see live cattle from Six Springs Farm, Joe Thomas and Brady Ewing. That should be a lot of fun. Tony on YouTube says, growing up in Ohio, Joe Thomas was the only good thing about the Browns for his entire career. Love the guy. Well, great, Tony. Tune in tomorrow. Hear more of Joe Thomas. All right, back to the matters at hand. Today's What's Worse? It's summer. We're going to be out in the field tomorrow. Chris Geezy, our friend producer, was out there. Helps out in the show. He helped. We did a scout. This is such a big show, Zombers. We were out there yesterday scouting out the location, and there were, as happens in cattle pastures, lots of flies.
I can imagine.
So today's What's Worse? Biting flies or wasps? Biting flies or wasps? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you can give us a call. Or you can text us on the app. I'm sorry, I'm doing three things at once. Call us at 855-752-4842, or text us on the Civic Media app.
Do you need to take a breath? Maybe a sip of water?
I'm so excited about this show tomorrow. I lost my head occasionally.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Or for a moment. What's worse, biting flies or wasps? 855-752-4842, or text us on the Civic Media app. And we're not talking about biting a fly, but rather flies that bite.
Yes, a very important distinction to make.
Biting flies or wasps? What's worse? Our daily dose of foolishness. Tony on YouTube says, biting flies by a mile. You think they're normal flies, then boom, you get bit. You always know a wasp will sting you. Well, I mean, I'm not here to defend wasps, but I think it just depends on, are you disrupting their nest?
Right.
Or, if a wasp is just hanging out, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to sting you.
That's the thing about wasps, is the bright yellow color is a warning. It's good to know, stay away.
Right.
But also, people freak out when really the best thing to do, unless it is clearly a bunch of angry wasps, is to just be chill, let them fly on. Maybe they land on your arm for a little bit. Just let them be. You could gently brush them away, and then you're okay.
Yeah, just be. I think that's great advice, Summers. Chill out with a wasp. DJ, listening on WXCO in Wausau, says, I don't know anyone who is allergic to horseflies, but I know many people who are allergic to wasp stings. So wasps are worse. DJ in the Saw. DJ, thank you very much. That's a great point. There are some people that have to carry the EpiPen because, like, if they get stung, it's a life or death situation.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes within very short minutes.
Yeah. Tyler, listening in beautiful Columbia County, says biting flies are worse. Wasps will leave you alone if you leave them alone. Again, Tyler, I think most I would say fact check that, mostly true, with the exception like late in the fall, right before the freeze, like you go to an apple orchard, you got a caramel apple. Those wasps are nasty because they're trying to save up for winter, and they'll go right after that caramel apple at Oakwood Fruit Farm in Richland County.
Seems like a very specific story.
Well, it was. But I spent a lot of time at Oakwood Fruit Farm in the fall up there in Richland. Also a great fine sponsor of Civic Media. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, biting flies or wasps? Our very own Parker Olson, the great producer of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, says, I hate biting flies. They don't taste great.
We already made that distinction, Parker. You got to keep up.
Well done, Parker. Well done. I like that a lot. Let's see here off the text line. Megan in Sun Prairie, listening on WMDX, says absolutely wasps are worse. They make people panic way more, especially my husband, and people can be deathly allergic to them. All right, very good. What else do we have here? Well, we'll come back. We have Mark in Prairie du Sac. He's taking a turn at biting flies or wasps? We'll tell you what he said after this. And call in yourself, 855-752-4842, biting flies or wasps. It's What's Worse for a Monday edition of the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
It's a party on the patio at the Lazy Oaf Lounge, and you're invited every Tuesday at 5:30. It's just Merle and a girl, and Thursdays on the patio feature singer-songwriter Shelley Faith.
Well, hey, bartender, won't you pour me another?
Music starts at 5:30. It's live music on the patio at the Lazy Oaf Lounge every Tuesday and Thursday. The Lazy Oaf Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road in Madison. Find specials, menus, and more at lazyoaflounge.com.
Is your computer so slow you can hardly use it? Does it have blue screens, malware, viruses, reboots, hardware crashes? Sound familiar? Computers will have problems, and when they do, you need the computer experts at Madison Computer Works. Every day we help home users and businesses keep their computers and networks running smoothly. For solutions to your computer problems, call the pros at 231-8000, and we'll turn this into this. Madison Computer Works. Computers that work for you.
Time out. All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for.
I like that jingle.
Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The
25
Eldercare
seconds.
Locator is here to help you live your best life as you age at home. Our call center advisors.
Come on now, give me some sugar, give me some sugar, little honeybee. Don't be afraid, not gonna hurt you. I wouldn't hurt my little honeybee.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Zomers is hot today. On the board, 22 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome in, everybody. Glad to have you along on Monday, July 28th. Who sings that?
That's Tom Petty.
Is it Tom Petty?
It is, which, I don't know, something. Hearing Tom Petty sing that just feels wrong.
But well
at
done.
least to me.
Well done, yeah. Our What's Worse, we're right in the middle of it for today. Our daily look at the lighter side, foolishness. What's worse, biting flies or wasps? Biting flies or wasps? What's worse? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. TJ, texting in, says, what problem do you have with white Anglo-Saxon Protestants?
WASP as an acronym means that. Yeah.
That's the acronym, TJ, for WASP.
We're talking about the bugs.
We're talking about the bugs. Wow. What's worse, biting flies or wasps? 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Mark in Prairie du Sac. Mark, biting flies or wasps? What's worse?
Well, I'd probably say wasps because I've been stung by both kinds. That years ago I got stung by one that had must have been some kind of ground nest. I think it was yellow jackets. I was laying down on the ground pulling a fender off a Volkswagen Beetle out in a field that I bought off a guy, and I was getting to go, what the heck? Did I lay in a cigarette? No, it was cigarette butt. No, it was I was laying over the entrance hole to a ground wasp nest, and then another time I got stung a couple of times in the back by some paper wasps that were not happy about the fact we were moving some lumber out of the garage they apparently had a nest in. On the one side, it was just a little tiny nest, but on the other side of the outside of the garage, it was just a big, huge one. And I don't know if you remember the picture they had in the State Journal. I think this is years ago, but apparently the wasps had made a nest out of colored construction paper they had pulled off the kiosks down on State Street there. So it was just a multicolored paper wasp nest. I mean, it was beautiful, but I mean, those things are just nasty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Appreciate the call, Mark. Thanks for sharing that. No, worst thing I ever got, like Mark said, paper wasp. They're a large wasp, all black in color. And their nests are beautiful because they're like this kind of cone shape and very, very delicate. It's one of the mysteries of nature. They're able to create this, but this big paper wasp nest was on the side of the barn back when my grandparents were still on the farm. And I closed the milk house door kind of hard, and that disturbed them. And that the entire, it felt like it. I had they chased me all the way to the house, which was probably, I don't know, 50 yards or so. And I got stung multiple times. It took a while to get over that, but yeah, they're nasty. Zombers? So, yes, I've given my answer. Wasps are worse.
Yeah, I think I got to agree that wasps are worse. I've gotten some nasty bites from, horseflies and stuff, but wasps, they can swarm a lot more if you anger them. And also, as one of our texters said, the panic that I mentioned before, they make people freak out. And it's like, you're making it worse for everybody because now they're more likely to sting you. And I don't know. I know that technically they serve a purpose in the food chain, but I don't care.
It's different than bees. Bees are different than wasps.
Very important.
Yeah. Jim in Brookfield says biting flies are much worse. While I have been stung by wasps, the swelling of the sting will go down. I still have small scars, however, from biting horseflies from totally unprovoked attacks. Jim in Brookfield. Thanks for listening, Jim. Also, Mark and Pertisacco said that the yellow jackets are just plain nasty.
They are.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thanks for playing, everybody. We'll have a tomorrow. Now, I'm calling tomorrow and I've already seen the What's Worse for Tomorrow. CP has written it up. A special edition for our on-location show with Joe Thomas. Tomorrow's What's Worse is the Other White Meat edition. So there you go. Tune in for the Other White Meat edition of What's Worse tomorrow with Joe Thomas and Brady Ewing. I think it's pretty good.
I don't see it yet, so
no, it's not. It's not even up on the board.
It's top secret, even
top
for me.
Secret, yeah. It's not up on the board yet. Also, Terry Barr watching on YouTube today. We appreciate Terry and appreciate all the work she does here. The Emmy award-winning Terry Barr says, "Hey, Mr. Zombers, have fun tonight at the Brewers game. I want to put a big L flag up, so counting on you for a win." That's right. Zombers going down to the game. You can hear the game tonight across many of our civic media stations. A pregame show just after 6 o'clock. First pitch from AmFam Field at 6:40. The Miz on the mound for the Brewers as they get underway against the evil, dreaded Chicago Cubs in Game 1 tonight from AmFam Field of a 3-game series with the Cubbies. Mentioned this earlier. It's not just wasps, you understand, Zombers, in the summer. It's the humidity as well. We are under a heat advisory?
Heat advisory, yeah.
Until later on tonight. Well, here now from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Kaylee Gleason. Last week she wrote this, but I think that's still pertinent. Says, despite a rainy start to the morning, another heat wave is expected to make its way through parts of Wisconsin. A heat advisory has been issued for Milwaukee, and that was back on the 23rd, but now there's another one today, so it's still pertinent. Says through a range of factors contribute to increasingly high temperatures and humidity. There's actually a phenomena called evapotranspir. What is it? Evapotranspir. What do you call it? Precipitation.
Evapotranspiration.
Thank you for saying that. It is dubbed for idiots like me corn sweat by many that could drive up the heat in Midwestern states. But what does that term actually mean, and how does it affect the Wisconsin heat? Well, here's what you need to know, and we're going to tell you more on the other side. Corn sweat refers to how plants move water to their surfaces and release it into the air as vapor, according to The Ohio State University. It's basically how plants breathe, according to agdaily.com, they say. Got to ask Pam Yonke about this. In Midwestern and Plains states, this corn sweat can make heat worse. as their millions of acres of crops drive up humidity levels. So if you're not a heat type of person like Zommers, you've only got the corn to blame. Come on back, we'll tell you more. Also, a little bit more political news on the other side. Don't go anywhere. An ag update now from Pam Yancey in the Civic Media Radio Network.
Damn corn.
Here, you're listening to 92.7 WMDX.
Download the Civic Media app in the Google Play or Apple App Store and take us everywhere. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 101 years, the cream puff has been a staple for the Wisconsin State Fair. I'm Kylie Allen, and you're tuning in to the Midwest Farm Report this Monday afternoon. Lisa Emmel is the Chief Programs Officer for the Wisconsin State Fair, and she has some exciting news. With details of new advancements, Lisa shares how the fair will make more of these sweet treats than ever before.
We had been doing some evaluating of the efficiencies of the old bakery. The ovens were extremely old. There were all sorts of issues that we could not evolve any further, which now you've seen we have some new flavors out. So that was kind of our pushing, like our motivation to get this new bakery in. With those efficiencies, new ovens were huge for us. The ovens we have right now are state of the art. They're amazing. First puffs came out and they look great, taste great. I didn't get to taste them, but I'm sure they will taste absolutely phenomenal. But it wasn't just that. It was the slicers and the dusting and the packaging and all sorts of things.
Well, I don't know about you, but all this talk of cream puffs makes me excited for the Wisconsin State Fair. Lisa Emmel along with us. She's the Chief Programs Officer for the State Fair. Stick around. I've got a look at some more news after this.
Unique farming operations need unique financial solutions. Egg Country Farm Credit Services offers customized financing that fits any size farm, ranch, or agribusiness. The next time you're in the market for more land, equipment, facilities, or maybe even an operating loan, contact the team at Egg Country. They know agriculture and will work for you. Egg Country. Focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender.
You're invited to Clinton Farms in Bear Creek for this year's Farm Technology Days, Generations of Progress. This year's event features the chance to explore cutting-edge equipment, innovative techniques, and taking a glimpse into the next generation of agriculture. There's also a Rotary Parlor, seminars, and of course, field demos of all kinds. Mark your calendars for August 5th through the 7th and bring the whole family to this year's event. For more information and show details, visit wifarmtechdays.org. The U.S. and Indonesia have announced a framework for a new trade agreement. It could be a game changer for the U.S. beef exports. According to the U.S. Meat Export Federation, right now, access to Indonesia's beef market is limited. The tariffs on beef are relatively low at 5%, but there are several non-tariff barriers in place. These include strict import licensing rules and plant-by-plant facility approvals, just to name a few. The industry says these policies have restricted U.S. beef imports for years, and if Indonesia removes these barriers, the opportunity for American beef is worth an estimated $250 million annually. That's just the short term. With China's market still uncertain, Indonesia could become a major buyer of U.S. beef products. Stay tuned online at themidwestfarmreport.com for more stories about Wisconsin food, fuel, and fiber. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
Local news, weather, and sports on air and streaming on the Civic Media app. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Sunny, hot, and humid today, with high temperatures scraping the low 90s, but it really feeling more like 100 degrees, prompting a heat advisory. And with the winds barely moving, it's not helping any. Overnight, some showers and storms are possible, and some could be strong to severe. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Currently, it's 91.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The John and Gordy Show.
Never regret having an adjustable bed frame. We got two twins, put them together, so each of us could adjust the bed frame the way we want.
You and Ann, your wife.
Yes, with
not
Ann.
talking about John and Gordy. Just
clear.
30 seconds.
People were raising their eyebrows.
It is 35 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock. Zombers, it's like a dance party in here today. I love it.
Well, I mean, most people, at least I did when I was little, think that song's called Everybody Dance Now. But no, it's called Gonna Make You Sweat.
Really?
It is. It's like, yeah, let's all go to the dance floor and sweat. Come on. Let's get out there. Everybody dance now.
My mind is blown because what you just said, I thought that was true. And I can't tell you
I
how
thought so
many
too.
times I played that song for the Betty Hayes School of Dance for 16 years, over the course of 16 years, with different dance classes. That was a very big song for the Betty Hayes School of Dance.
Yeah.
Probably still is.
And that's what everyone calls it, but that's not actually what it's called.
What is it called? Make You Sweat?
Gonna Make You Sweat by CNC Music Factory.
Wow. As Johnny Carson once said, I did not know that. So well done, Zombers. Talking about not just dance sweat. Welcome back, by the way. Talking about corn sweat. This is real, by the way. Great story in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel from last week. When there was a heat advisory then, there's a heat advisory for much of Wisconsin today until 8 o'clock. But according to this story, this is real. Say the real word again, Zombers, because I can't say it. I'm sorry. Well, whatever that's called. Evaporation.
Oh, evapotranspiration.
That's it. Evapotranspiration. Thank you. That's the technical term. Evapotranspiration. But for people like me, it's just called corn sweat for the layman and the laywoman. So how does it affect Wisconsin's heat? According to the Journal Sentinel, evaporation, the term refers to how plants move water to their surfaces and release it into the air as vapor, according to the Ohio State University and Ag Daily. And it happens in this part of the world, in Midwest and Plain states, where we grow a lot of corn. And it can make heat worse as their millions of acres of crops drive up humidity levels. Quote, corn transpiration is an important moisture contributor, though not the dominant factor, Iowa State climatologist Justin Gilson told USA Today. Gilson noted that regional and state-level weather patterns provide more moisture than what's created by the natural process. And get this, an acre of corn can sweat off about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water a day during the growing season. Let me say that again. An acre of corn can sweat off about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water a day.
I thought I was a pretty sweaty guy.
Right? You got nothing on corn, Zombers. That's according to the USA Today, citing the U.S. Geological Survey. But in top corn-producing states like Iowa and Illinois, so my grandparents used, my granddad and grandma Allbaugh used to say Iowa and Illinois. This number can be much higher. The National Weather Service said corn could produce between 49 and 56 billion gallons of water into the atmosphere each day in Iowa, which can add 5 to 10 degrees to the dew point. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Wisconsin had an estimated 3.75 million acres of corn in August of last year, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, as Orion Samuelson likes to say. Department of Agriculture. I love, if I could talk like Orion Samuelson, I'd be a happy man. He is from Wisconsin, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Southwest Wisconsin. Great farm report. Orion Samuelson. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So when people say, why is it so hot? Why is it so humid? Well, part of it has to do with where we got more corn going. Our own Joanne Krulotz tuning in back at the RCE. In fact, we're going to be doing the show from WRCE in Richland Center on Thursday Maybe we could get Joanne to come on and talk about Walk with Grace. Says, I know I'm having such a rough summer. My house is surrounded by corn. And she sends a picture. I know where Joanne lives out there in Bloom City. And there's a lot of corn in Bloom City. So, yeah. Here are my grandparents' farm for 40 years. I never heard about Granddad talking about corn sweat. He'd just say, quit your complaining and come help me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, so that was good. 40 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock here on a Monday, July 23rd. Talked about this earlier, or I teased it, as they say. Barry Goldwater, Donald Trump, and Little League in Venezuela. What does it have in common? Well, this is from the publication called TheHill.com from last week, the 26th. Actually, it would have been Saturday, over the weekend. Headline, Venezuelan Little League team denied U.S. visas for the World Series. According to TheHill.com, a Venezuelan Little League baseball team will miss the Senior Baseball World Series held in South Carolina after it was denied entry into the United States because the players were unable to obtain visas. The team from, I'll probably mess up this name, Maracaibo, Venezuela, qualified for the World Series after winning the Latin American Championship in Mexico, but will not be able to compete in South Carolina because they were unable to, quote, obtain the appropriate visas, unquote, to travel, according to Little League International. Little League International said in a statement to The Hill that while this is, quote, extremely disappointing, especially to these young athletes, unquote, the tournament committee has decided to advance the second-place team from the Latin American Championship from Mexico. The league said that the replacement will ensure, quote, the Latin American region is represented in the tournament and that the players, coaches, and families from Mexico will be able to have a memorable World Series experience, unquote. A senior State Department official told The Hill over the weekend on Saturday that U.S. consular offices are currently, quote, working to review the case to confirm proper procedures were followed and necessary appeals were submitted by the visa applicants, unquote. Now, here's the interesting part and the sad part and this disturbing part. Venezuela is on President Trump's list of countries where the entry of their nationals is partially restricted or limited. 6 other countries, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, and Turkmenistan are also included. In early June, Trump also fully restricted visas of entry of nationals from 12 other nations. Goes on from there. The Venezuelan baseball team went to Colombia 2 weeks ago to apply for travel visas, according to the Associated Press. Quote, it is a mockery on the part of Little League to keep us here in Bogota with the hope that our children can fulfill their dreams of participating in a world championship, unquote. The baseball team said in a statement, according to the AP, quote, what do we do with so much injustice? What do we do with the pain that was caused to our children? Unquote. This, to me, is just a really sad example of the realities of the Trump administration. One of the cool things that I love is watching the world, because we talk about a World Series, right? In the Major League Baseball. Well, we have one team, Toronto, from Canada. That's it. Otherwise, it's all American teams. U.S. teams. The Little League World Series is actually a World Series with teams from all over the world. And it's an amazing event. I love watching it on TV, ESPN, that type of thing. And here you have kids that have nothing to do with anything going on in the world politically, who are working their rear ends off, who are doing it, quote unquote, the right way, who aren't doing video games, keeping their noses clean, participating in the sport. And they've worked and earned their way to a Little League World Series in the United States. These are not terrorists. These are not people that are anything harmful to the United States. These aren't people that are coming here to immigrate here. It's a visit to participate in a World Series game. Kids. And the Trump administration is so small and so cruel that they said no. Nope, can't come. And, fine, the Mexican team is coming. I'm sure they're very happy about that, finishing second. But again, Trump has done a deal with Mexico, but not with Venezuela. It all comes down to one man's exaggerated ego. And who is this hurting? Kids. The term cruelty is the point that gets tossed around a lot. Unfortunately, this is a really great example of that. There's no diplomacy here. There's nothing to be gained. This is an attack on kids. Venezuela. Geezy, who's going to be helping us out tomorrow, watch it on Facebook, says, what implications will this have on the World Cup, i.e. what we would call soccer in the U.S., that the U.S. is hosting, with games also taking place in Canada and Mexico? Mass boycotts, denied visas for teams. What a mess. He's absolutely right. And there's already a movement of people saying that FIFA should boycott having the World Cup, the part in the United States here, because of this. We're seeing it now with kids. Imagine what's going to happen next year with adults. But FIFA, the head of it, is one of those people that bows down and genuflects to Donald Trump. Want to weigh in? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Do we have time for the Barry Goldwater clip, Zommers? Or is it
yes,
close?
we do.
All right, so let's do it. Let's get this. Troy, stay on the line. I want to get to you. This is Barry Goldwater, longtime arch conservative from back in the day. Here's what Barry Goldwater once said about power in this country.
That we have put so much power in the office of the presidency that someday the wrong man could come along. And I wouldn't be so concerned about whether he could use these powers to perpetuate himself in office, but how he would use these powers to destroy people that disagreed with him, to pile up voters where voters don't usually pile up. I think Johnson is fully aware of the powers that he has, and he certainly has used them and will use them. There's many ways that the average person doesn't understand. For example, let's take mergers. It's becoming obvious that large businesses in some areas have to get together. Now, who has the control on this? The president, in a subtle, indirect way through the Attorney General and the Bureau affected, so that powerful businessmen have to become beholden to the president in order to see that their business is put in a position where they can compete. And this is becoming more and more a problem, frankly, with the conservative movement, is the fact that businessmen are being intimidated by the president and are moving away from historic positions.
That was Barry Goldwater. Nobody was more... Barry Goldwater was the gold standard, pun intended, of the conservative movement back in the 60s. Warning that this country may somebody elect a man where people bow to him, beholden to him. So as a former Republican who left the party in 2011, when I hear current MAGA leadership in D.C. say, well, Trumpism and MAGA is conservative. Fact check, you're wrong. Because you're no Barry Goldwater, Trumper. Come on back. We'll wrap it up with a little dance party. Troy's on the line. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin is cheering on Bucky Badger. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Right now, during the Verlo Mattress Clearance Sale, you can save even more with Verlo's already low consumer direct prices. Oh, you'll find phenomenal savings on floor models and discontinued mattresses. And all our mattresses are made locally, just for you, and are backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Oh, but you better hurry. The sale ends soon. Wake up, sleep better and save at Verlo.
Herbal Aspect has landed. That's right, Madison's go-to cannabis destination now has a brand new location in Sun Prairie.
Wait, 4 locations? That's a high level of convenience.
With 3 Madison locations and now Sun Prairie, a great cannabis experience is always close by. Our expert staff is here to help, whether you walk in, call, or order online. Mention Radio 420 and get a special discount. So stop by Herbal Aspect in Sun Prairie, because great cannabis isn't just a pipe dream.
Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
Experience northern Wisconsin this season and book your vacation at Lena's Northern Pines Resort on beautiful Butternut Lake in Butternut, Wisconsin.
Lake.
This quaint resort has it all. A full-service resort and restaurant, open year-round for all your seasons. From ATVing to snowmobiling, grouse hunting,
I've been there. It is a
deer
great
hunting,
place.
and
I really
even
want
ice
to.
fishing. Or
Lena's
just come to relax. with
Northern
the whole
Pines
family.
Resort
And
on
there's
Butternut
also
Lake.
an event space for that perfect occasion that you might be celebrating. Butternut Lake is a 1,000 plus acre Class A musky lake, along with walleye, crappie, perch, and panfish that the kids love to catch. It's perfect for escaping the hustle and bustle of the city. Check your next adventure out today. Go to northernpines.net. www.northernpines.net.
It's the Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental
Eco
voice
Minute.
since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. Baby bald eagles near the Great Lakes are testing positive for PFAS and other toxic chemicals. Researchers found that eagles living near the Great Lakes had 6 times more toxic chemicals in their bloodstreams than inland populations. Other chemicals found in the baby eagles' bloodstreams were DDT and PCBs, which were banned decades ago. A small Wisconsin school district just got some big clean energy bragging rights. The Elva-Strum School District in Trimolo County unveiled 184 ground-mount solar panels that will deliver about 20% of the district's energy needs and will be a living classroom for students to learn about
30
solar
seconds.
energy and
Gracias.
energy data.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it's now 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. On the top of the hour, ABC, CBS, or James Kelly News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to, followed by a check of weather, that heat advisory in effect for most of Wisconsin, or parts of Wisconsin, until 8 o'clock tonight. Our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, in with Packer training camp news, and then it's another fantastic edition of the Maggie Dawn Show today. One, the only Matt Rothschild in the guest host chair with Maggie, the Maggie Dawn Show every afternoon from 2 until, pardon me, would that be something? It might be, who knows? From 4 until 6, that's when Maggie appears, 4 until 6. And then after 6 o'clock, it's Pete Schwaba, who was down here last week. You know, and you and he were doing the show together for a night or two. Pete's back up in Green Bay at WGBW, and he and Conrad will bring you Nightlight every evening here from 6 until 8. All right, tomorrow, on location, join us. Big show. Cannot wait. Joe Thomas, NFL Hall of Famer, Badger Hall of Famer from Six Springs Farm in southwest Wisconsin. Catching up with Joe Thomas, what he's done since he left the NFL. Talking about the Badger football team, the prospects for this year. But also, really importantly, talking about his obsession, his new passion, which is healthy eating, conscious eating, and food naturally. And we're going to talk about Wagyu beef and why he has decided to raise Wagyu beef in southwest Wisconsin, and talk about, it's going to be great. Brady Ewing tomorrow, also a former Badger and NFL player, going to be with us as a guest host. So Brady, Joe Thomas, and me at Six Springs Farm, live on location. Not going to want to miss it. Tune in. We're going to have live cattle on the show. So watch the visuals right here on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or over the air across the Civic Media Radio Network. Also, the Brewers, big game tonight against the Cubs. In Milwaukee, first pitch at 6:40. The Miz on the mound. Pre-game show gets underway across many of these stations around 6:05. Also, many thanks to Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez for being our guest today. All right, want to finish up this story in the Hill. Venezuelan Little League team denied U.S. visas for the World Series after President Trump puts Venezuela on a list of countries limiting access. And now these kids in Venezuela have worked hard to get to the World Series in the United States, but not coming. The Mexican team, which finished second, is going to come. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Troy in Mount Horeb. Thanks for holding, Troy. What's the...
You know, the Orange Jesus and his followers don't care about these brown kids. So the fact that they're being, not getting what they deserve and coming to this little league, they don't care about that at all.
It sure doesn't appear so, no. Yeah, and it sucks because these kids have nothing to do. Right, they have nothing to do with the political situation in this world. I mean, sports, the Olympics, Little League, this is supposed to be the one place that's still able for the world to come together in peace and harmony, to quote the old Coca-Cola song, and Trump even kiboshes that.
100%. I'm without words. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
That you would do this to these kids.
It really is. Troy, appreciate your listenership as always. Thanks for the call, my friend. Have a wonderful day out there in beautiful Mount Horeb. So we'll keep following this. I just, again, it's an example, a tangible example. We talk about the meanness is the point. And unfortunately, that's an example here. Great show today. Again, many thanks to Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez for being our guest. Thanks to Luke Mathers, for helping set that up. Zommers, thank you as well for a great job today. Always fun. Always great to be back with you here at the World Headquarters. Going to be on the road tomorrow in Southwest Wisconsin, as we said, at Six Springs Farms. Then I think back here Wednesday in the studios. And then Thursday, we're out in Richland Center at WRCE covering another great event out there called Walk with Grace. It is a great community event to raise money for people who are fighting cancer and families. So we're going to be talking about Walk with Grace live from Richland Center, WRCE, on Thursday. Here's a little news for you. I had to make a decision. I have joined TikTok. This is, a bit of some pressure and all Todd should be on TikTok. All right. So if you want to follow me on TikTok for my TikTods, it's just my name, Todd, TODDALLBAUGH. I have posted my first TikTok. Did you watch it?
No, I've gone all these years without having a TikTok account.
Oh, you don't have one either.
No, and now I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
And I will only follow you.
It ends in a cornfield. That's all I'll say. Because we were out doing a scouting.
Is it a similar video to what you posted elsewhere?
Not nearly as good, no.
Okay, gotcha.
My TikTok is just goofy. It's old man Todd trying to figure out what the kids are watching. So now the Chinese are, I said to Geezy, now the Chinese are going to have all my stuff. And he looked at me and he goes,
they already do.
They already got it anyway.
Yeah. They have anything they want.
We were trying to set up some of this stuff yesterday. And he looked at me and he said, you remind me of my parents.
That's hilarious.
Because everything has a password and it's just very complicated. So, but now I have joined. So now I got to figure out more serious. My first one I posted was just stupid and goofy, 30 seconds, whatever it was. Now I have to do more regular, serious TikToks. Who came up with that, by the way? You remember?
It was one of us, or it
wasn't
could have been
me. I think it was you then. Somebody
could have been Tony.
Somebody said you should call it TikTok, and I like that. So we'll call them TikToks.
It could have been me. It could have been Tony. I don't remember who it was, to be honest.
But yes, I've joined the world of TikTok. Just follow me at Todd Allbaugh. That's it. It's very uncomplicated, Todd Allbaugh. So there you go. Well, great show today. Again, many thanks to Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez. And by the way, we welcome all candidates for governor, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Come on this show. We'll give you the same amount of time. I want to introduce everybody to our gubernatorial candidates. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be outstanding in our field. Well, in Joe Thomas's field. Going to be a great show tomorrow. Thanks, everybody who listens. We appreciate you. Remember, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you from Southwest Wisconsin tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Maggie Dawn and Matt Rothschild are next.
Keep banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Adios.